Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. A pet peeve of mine is people that try to divert subjects, especially if it has to do with a post of my own, or a video, or an article, what have you. They try to change the subject. Let's use the example of Russiagate. Okay? The information which has been declassified about Flynn exonerates Flynn. I don't care what your opinion is of Flynn. You can say he's a jerk, you don't like him, whatever. I don't care. That doesn't mean that when you're focusing on whether he is guilty of one specific charge which was brought against him, your opinion of his personality doesn't matter. That doesn't make him guilty. You can say, with all of Russiagate, you can go into all these claims. Russia interfered in our election. Russia. Well, when you're saying Russia, you're talking about the Russian government. An advertising agency is not the Russian government. It's not. That's like saying MSNBC or CNN or whoever. Just name an advertising agency. If they interfere and post American propaganda in Russia, does that mean that America is interfering in their elections? Well, that only holds true if you can prove that the American government actually directed them to do this, which through the CIA and numerous U.S. government agencies, we are literally guilty of. We are literally guilty of interfering in the governments of other nations by military action, by assassination. So if a Russian ad agency places, $50,000 worth of ads in a campaign season that saw over $2 billion spent, that means for every $1 that ad agency spent, there were the two candidates spent, what, over $30,000? 30,000 to 1. Okay? This is not interference. I don't care what you want to call it. So you can come across and say, but Putin is a bad person. That doesn't mean that Russia interfered with our election. Your opinion of another leader or a person has nothing to do with the subject. Okay? It becomes very much an issue if we're talking about who we want to elect. What that person's history is. Look at Biden. How much of a warmonger he is. How much of a corporatist he is. The sexual allegations against him. And I'm not defending Trump on any of this. Hell, I'm going to vote Green Party. I'm not real fond of some of the stuff that has gone on with them, but when you put it in perspective, if you want to talk about the lesser of X evils, I'm going to look at the Green Party platform and what the Green Party stands for and compare it to what the Democrats stand for and what the Republicans stand for. Yeah, I'm not fond of if Howie gets the nomination and he has promoted Russiagate. I'm not happy about it. But I don't believe that he would pursue a war against Russia or increasing troop levels on the Russian border or etc., etc. You know, the Green Party, for the most part, is in favor of closing down American foreign bases and minding our own frickin' business. So as long as he is willing to follow the Green Party platform on these issues, then his promotion of Russiagate becomes pretty much a non-issue. But no matter what, okay, you want to say Trump is a bad person, I'm going to agree with you. But when you're talking about whether he is guilty of one thing or another, you have to look at the evidence in that particular case. You have to be informed. Just because of your opinion of him is bad doesn't mean he is guilty of that offense. People can come up with a lot of, statements against me. A lot of them are going to be true. Sometimes I can be quite offensive. Right on this channel, I'll say sometimes I'm offensive. And sometimes I intend to be. Because I will call people stupid because they deserve to be called stupid. I will call people evil because they deserve to be called evil. When I'm talking about Wall Street capitalists, that's the definition of evil. You're talking about Jeff Bezos? That's the definition of evil. You talk about John Bolton. That's the definition of evil. I don't care what your opinion of, Obama is. If I hear him talking about peace or economic equality, I don't want to hear it. I don't post that shit. I mean, he increased bombing by the United States from 2 countries to 7 countries. Excuse me. The migration of wealth to the very top 0.1% increased dramatically under Obama. Our oil production, fragging, all this stuff increased under Obama while he was talking about the Paris Climate Accord. All right. Remember, pivot to Asia, the buildup of U.S. troops on the Russian border. All right. Don't do that. All right? Just because you think that he was great, that means you're uninformed. You didn't pay attention for the 8 years he was in office, and you're still not paying attention 4 years later. His words are a diversion from the truth. If you're using his words and ignoring his actions, you are diverting. So, if I post something about how it is not a sacrifice or an invasion of your rights to wear a mask in public to protect other people, because you can have this organism that you can be passing along to susceptible people or to anyone, and you don't even understand how that infection works, when I've already explained it in another video. You can't say what right is being invaded of yours. So when you try to change the subject into something else, you're diverting. You are diverting the subject. You're ignoring it. If I ask you directly which of your rights is being invaded, and you can't answer me, and you start changing it to something else, you are diverting. If you cannot focus on one subject, if you cannot focus on what is right or wrong in this instance, then you've got nothing to contribute to the conversation. I mean, you can take somebody that, stole a loaf of bread from a convenience store as a teenager, and then they're accused of murder in their 20s. And you're the person that's going to say, oh, but they stole a loaf of bread in their teens, and that makes them a bad person. You're diverting the subject. Are they guilty? Is the evidence in this case relevant? Because that loaf of bread is not relevant. You have to look at the evidence in this case. You have to look at each individual subject. You have to look at the evidence for this, not what your opinion of them is. Just because they said something 10 years ago. Okay, yeah, in some cases, yeah, a lot of things like Trump has said, yeah, it illustrates that he's a complete asshole. I'm going to agree with you. Well, the same is true of Biden. The same is true of a lot of people in elected office. Just because you don't like this one name doesn't make it relevant. Okay? Stop diverting the subject. Focus on one thing. When you are discussing one subject, stick to that subject. If you can't do that, don't discuss it at all. Just don't discuss it, because you're incapable. You are too ignorant to do so, and that is a choice. When you divert, it is on purpose. Nobody diverts the subject by accident. You just want to be right. Even when you are completely divorced from the subject, you just want to be right. You just want to prove that your opinion of this person is correct over what the subject is. I'm not going to have it. And I will call you out on it every single time. Don't try it with me. And for everyone else, pay attention to when people are doing this. Stay to one subject. When somebody tries to drag it off into something else, drag them kicking and screaming back to the original subject. And when they prove that they cannot stick to that subject, end the conversation. Just end it. If it's your own post, delete their comments. If they keep on commenting, block them. Because if we want to discuss subjects and stay focused, this is the only way we're going to do it. It is the only way. A lot of people try to call me wrong because I'll block people. Well, go ahead, call me wrong. But I'm going to stay focused. This is how I stay focused. All right? With the rest of you, if you allow yourselves to be dragged off into all these different things, you become confused. You don't even remember what the original subject was, and you started the conversation. All right. Be aware of what diversion is, and don't allow it to happen. Don't try to use it. Especially against me. Don't do it. Because, like I said, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to illustrate that you're doing it. All right? That's it for today. Share this video, podcast, whatever you want to call it. If you can, please donate $1 a month and help me expand the channel. And I hope you have a good day. Stay aware, stay alert. You know, pay attention to these tactics because they're way too common. Just don't let them be effective on you. All right, that's it for today. Goodbye.